Well, it was big news promised this morning at the House of Keys sitting as the sexual offences bill was making its way through, and certainly we got the news that the Chief Minister, Howard Quayle, who's now joining us, has made this sort of unilateral apology to everyone that was caught up in the homosexual years. I use that term in the sense I don't know what to call it really, when it was banned and there was certainly a sort of witch hunt going on. Mr. Quayle, would you want to explain exactly why you've done this now?
Well, I think this was the third reading of the Sexual Offences and Obscene Publications Bill, and I felt this was the right time to make a statement on behalf of the people of the Isle of Man. As Chief Minister representing the House of Keys and Tynwald, it was important that a statement be made by myself apologising for the past legislation that had been put into action by the House of Keys and Tynwald.
I mean, it's probably quite incredible for most people to think that the Isle of Man has come so far in the last few years, but it wasn't that long ago, as we're talking about here, that it was a criminal offence. But it actually seemed that there was quite an appetite, should we say, for the police to go hunting for suspects to actually put in front of the courts, and that has led to all sorts of distresses in people's lives and, in fact, to suicides, yes?
Yeah, it's incomprehensible to believe that up until 1994, homosexuality was illegal on the Isle of Man and carried a number of consequences.
What happens now? Do people get compensation, for instance, or is it just simply to take this off their record, if they're still alive, of course?
Yeah, there's no compensation available on this bill. This is an ability for anyone to apply to have their criminal record erased for activities that would now be considered legal.
It's quite tricky, I should imagine, because, I mean, what was illegal, you know, retrospectively has now been made legal. Doesn't that have all sorts of other consequences for law?
Well, that's why I suppose you could argue that compensation can't be paid because it was actual law passed legally at the time. So what we've done is that obviously it was no longer illegal after 1994, but I have issued the apology and ensured that if a person was found has a criminal record because of an activity illegal, then they can apply and have it removed from their record. And I think that's really important that that is there and available for all people.
Well, presumably you've got the data on this. I mean, how many people does it involve?
I don't have the data that the Department of Home Affairs would have, and I don't know if I would be entitled to be privy to that. But as I say, that information is there. I think it's really important. But I hope the statement, it was a lengthy statement, it was a very sincere statement from myself. I hope it's accepted as that, and I hope that we can now heal and go forward on this. It's a step in the right direction. It can't undo all the harm and hurt and worse that went on to people who experienced this dreadful position, but at least it's a step in the right direction. And as I say, to quote Alan Shea, who I see has written a statement, we now need to heal, and I fully endorse that statement.
And finally, is there anything else that needs to be done? Is that it? It's as simple as just you sign something, or you just made that apology and that's the end of it? How's it work?
Well, I've made the apology. Now, if anyone has a criminal record, as I've explained before, they can apply to the police to have that removed from their record.
And were you put under any pressure, Mr. Quayle, to do this? Was this your own idea, or did it come from ministers, or what?
Well, this was my statement was agreed. Obviously, it was written, and I shared it with all of the Council of Ministers, who were 100% unanimous in supporting me making the speech and the contents of the speech. So whilst I made it as Chief Minister, it was with the full backing of the Council of Ministers, and going by the body language and comments from all House of Keys members, it carried their full support.